What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode number 9 of the Arsenal career mode. If you missed the last episode, I think you should go back and watch it, as it was a very good episode. One unfortunate result. We'll quickly give you a brief update. As you can see there, we drew with Manchester United away at Old Trafford. That was a very unlucky game for us, as they did equalise in about the 87th minute through Cavani. We played Antwerp at home in the Europa League, and Ketia scored in the 91st minute to give us a 2-1 win. And as you can see there on the left, we beat City 1-0 away at the Etihad. That was by a late 88th minute Wilfried Zaha goal. But we did unfortunately lose our unbeaten run of the season at home to Liverpool. They went 1-0 up. We just had to go for the attack. Unfortunately, Salah then scored. However, as you can see, today's episode will be a lot more of a calmer one compared to last episode, as now we've got Nice. However, Nice are joint top with us in the group. They have won both their games, so this is a must-win game. I'm still going to keep faith in the young squad, as obviously we're 6 points clear. If we don't beat them in the away leg, we should beat them in the home leg, and I don't want to risk any injuries. So I think we will keep this lineup. Obviously, Nketiah has been in great form. Martinelli scored a couple. The team is playing very well. So I think we'll just move straight into this game. Hopefully we can build on the last 2 wins that this team's had. They've also beat Aston Villa 5-1 in the Cup, so they're a very strong team together. However, Nice are not just going to sit back and let us have this win. So as we get on here, they've got Towers, very good right back. They've got Dolberg, a very young, good, promising striker. They've got obviously Snyder, who used to play for Everton and Manchester United. They've got a very good team. Dante used to play for Bayern Munich, the Argentinian goalkeeper, also a very good goalkeeper. But I think we should be able to beat a team like this. If we can't, then obviously it will show really where our second team is at. Obviously, it's not the strongest, it's not the best, but I think it's still a team that can go very far in certain competitions on their own, without needing too many of these star players. Obviously, we've got Aubameyang, Pepe and Zaha on the bench if needed. But hopefully these ain't needed, as this has probably been the more creative team so far this season, probably scoring the most goals. However, obviously they've been playing the lesser opponents. But I think if we can win this game, if we can get a nice early goal, we've got a chance here. But obviously Nice are just defending. I'll happily take them sitting back for the entire game and just letting the team attack. And there it is, 1-0 Willian. What more of a better start could you ask for? Obviously Willian's not quite good enough to be in our first team. However, he has scored about 5 goals so far this season. So there might be a chance of him jumping just in front of Pepe. Obviously I've got to pick players on form rather than players on ability alone. However, I did see an article that came up just before this game. It said that Aubameyang was in very good form. Obviously they're just classing his assists as very good form, whereas obviously we want him scoring goals. But if he's in form, then maybe I do need to stop being so harsh on him. They've got a chance here to equalise, but a great bit of defending. I think after this game I've actually got to have a look, because I think Gabriel might be back from injury now. So if he is, maybe I'll look to bring him in instead of Mari. Obviously Mari has played very well for us in the few games that he has played this season. Obviously he's got 2 in the Europa League, 2 appearances so far, and then obviously that 1 game against Aston Villa. So maybe I'll ease Gabriel back into this lineup, and then we can look to get Gabriel maybe back into the starting lineup. But at the moment, Alaba and De Vrij are both doing very well. I think the loss to Liverpool was a very unfortunate one. They do, however, have probably one of the best attacks in the league. We did keep a clean sheet against Manchester City and managed to pit them to a last-minute goal, which was looking to be like a draw, but obviously we got that 1 goal. I did say throughout the game that it looks like there'll be a chance of very few chances, and there we have it. Nice with the equaliser. Obviously they went 1-0 down, they weren't too happy about it, and that was right on half time. I mean, a draw against the team that's joint top away, I'd say that's a very good result for this sort of young team. And then obviously we'd look to beat them in the home game. But if we do, however, start to lose this game, we may have to look to bring in, and they've just gone 2-1 up. I'm pretty much marking my own words here. Maybe I will have to bring on some of the better attackers. So I do have faith in this young team, but after going 1-0 up, I don't see how we've let the game slip away so easily. As I thought this would have just been a routine victory after going 1-0 up.
Still trailing, but they're upping the pressure.
Nketiah probably should have played the ball through there, but obviously he didn't, and now we've got a slow build up the play again.
Tremendous intuition to win it back.
Obviously we brought Nketiah on for Aubameyang against Liverpool, so maybe he is a little bit tired. He does, however, just have a shot saved there, and as I said, Benitez is a very good Argentinian goalkeeper. If we do lose this game, I will be disappointed in the team, but I will expect them to go and beat them in the home leg. Obviously being 6 points clear in the group stage already of third place, it's not the end of the world. I will, however, I know we've got a game against West Brom, but I feel like I want a goal. I want this team to go on and perform, so I think I'll put Willian through the middle and then put Zaha out wide. Just see if we can get this equaliser. I know I don't want to be playing this first team, but I also don't want to be losing ground against a team like Nice. We do have a chance there. Obviously only 15 minutes left. The team really does have to push forward now. I think we've only had the one real chance. Obviously Pepe did have that chance as well, so we have 3 shots, so they're 3. So they've just scored 2 goals. I think there might only be one more chance left in this game as they look to just be seeing this out. And can we take the chance?
Well, there's still scope for late drama here. 5 minutes left and just one.
We've now got a chance here. Can we get this late minute goal?
And back with Willian.
They just seem to be passing it around, but they're just not moving. Now we've got a chance there, and it hits the post from Willian. And this is going to be a very unfortunate result after that, which is a loss. We obviously did bring on our better players. We did still lose the game. Very unfortunate after going 1-0 up. But I wouldn't see it as the end of the world, as we've still got to play them at home, which if the game's very close away, you'd more than enough expect to beat them at home. But as we move on, obviously we don't really care too much about the Europa League group stage. We will obviously progress through, and as you see there, we've dropped down to 6, so this is pretty much a must-win game against the 16th place West Brom. Got the main starting lineup, so we'll just jump straight into this. So they've got Sam Johnson in goal. They've got some very good players, obviously Kieran Gibbs, obviously used to play for us, Jake Livermore, Robson Kanu. They've got good players. You would say it's a very average squad. And if you look at the players for players, you'd expect this to be a very routine win. Then obviously after this game we do have back-to-back games against Sheffield United, 1 in the Cup and 1 at home in the Premier League. So we can take 6 points from 6 in the league and knock Sheffield United out the Cup. For the second team, obviously they have just had a little confidence knock after losing to Nice. But obviously we move on from that. I think this should be a very easy win for us against, you would say, a mediocre West Brom. And as you can see, there's João Felix. On the day of recording this, we do actually have West Brom in this exact fixture away at 8 o'clock tonight. So I mean, whatever the result is now, if we can mimic that in real life, obviously we want both wins, then I'll be more than happy with that.
Jake Livermore.
As we move on here into the 20th minute,
João Felix. Nicolas Pepe.
can we get? I'd like a second goal before half time. Obviously we've been conceding so late on in so many games. It happened to Brighton, it happened to Man U, it happened at Liverpool. Like, it's just games that we're taking the lead and we're not seeing off against opponents that, obviously Man U, fair enough, they're a very good team. Liverpool, they're already 1-0 up, we went for it. But Brighton, like the game like that, we went 1-0 down, we brought it back to 2-1, and we dropped points yet again. It's just not something that we can do if we do want to get back into the top 4 this season. I do, however, feel like we do have a very strong squad that obviously we'll be able to build on. If we can just get Champions League football this season, perhaps win the Europa League. I'd like to win something major this season, whether it's the FA Cup, Carling Cup or the Europa League, if not the Premier League. Then I feel like we'll have a very good squad, and obviously we'll be able to build on that in the summer transfer window. I can't imagine we're going to be able to make too many deals happen in the January, as obviously we don't have the finances, and our players just ain't worth enough in the backup team to where we could sell them for major money. I think if there is a position that I'd like to improve the most, it is obviously that position with where El-Neni's playing at the moment. I actually forgot to put Ceballos back in. Maybe we'll bring him on in a couple of minutes. And there is Aubameyang finally breaking his goal drought with a goal that should see out this win. Oh, actually, while we're talking about it, bring on some subs now that we've had that 2-goal lead. I feel like although we do have the cup game, so maybe we don't want to be wasting their legs, we will just bring on Ceballos just to bring that bit more creativity.
Top class defending.
Obviously, we might have to look at maybe some pre-contract signings in January. See if we can just bring in like one good player for next year, because and he's given a penalty to West Brom. Now is Leonard going to save it, or are they going to score? And they do score, and now this is going to be a very nervy last half an hour of this game. We've been in control. We haven't really, West Brom haven't pressured us at all. And now through a penalty, they've literally just been given a lifeline. When the game's only 2-1, anything can really happen. Obviously the game was 2-1 against Brighton, and we ended up drawing it 2-2. So hopefully the team can respond from that unfortunate penalty and go just get themselves a goal.
Pass after pass, maybe they can chisel an opportunity.
I'd like to see a lot more from Zaha. Obviously we spent a lot of money on him, and obviously he did score that winner against Manchester City, but you could say that he hasn't really performed. He's obviously at Palace, everyone knows him to just go in on these crazy dribbles, but he just hasn't seemed to do that for us. Maybe we need to tell him to cut in and have just have a shot on goal. Like I'd rather see the players shoot and miss than just not shoot at all. But as we move on here into the last 10 minutes, I feel like we should be able to see this game out. I'd like to get an extra goal just to make it safe, and we've got a chance here. Can Partey finish that? No, he's yet again there. It looks like he's tried to play the ball out to Felix, when if he'd have just had a shot, maybe it would have got deflected to Felix, or it could have just gone in. But as it comes into the last minute of the game, nice bit of defending. Can we see this out? Hopefully they can't turn him. And they've got a free kick on the edge of the box. Ivanovic, he would love to score against us. And it goes wide, and the rest should blow the whistle. And that was way too close for comfort for an away game to West Brom, who are already 16th. As you can see there, Man United just dropped points as well. So it was vital that we didn't. This should put us back. I'd like to put us back up to 3rd. Obviously we'll have a look at that after this cup game. The home game against Sheffield United should be a routine victory, so obviously we're going to keep faith in this young team, that we're just trying to build on the experience that we've got in the first team and play the young team where possible. Now if we did go out of this competition, I would be disappointed. I want this young team to go as far as they can. Obviously we've got some very young players: Nketiah, Martinelli, Nelson, Xhaka, Maitland-Niles, Saliba. Like, they're all very young players that do obviously have a big future at Arsenal, and obviously we'll see how they get on in this game.
And so the match is underway.
Maybe if they do, because Sheffield United at home, you would think that we could beat them in the Premier League. So if there is a standout performer in this game, maybe I will give him the chance in the Premier League game. Obviously this is probably much like the starting 11 that I could expect to face in the Premier League. There might be 1 or 2 changes that they'll have, but I mean, we're changing 10 players every game. The only person who's pretty much stayed in every lineup so far is Leno.
David McGoldrick. Well, they'll be happy to have regained possession.
But as we move on here, obviously we don't want to repeat against Nice. If we do go a goal up this game, I'd like the team to see it out. Whereas the game against Nice we did lose, and we've got a chance there. And who's that? Willock with a great finish. So right centre mid, very young. I think I missed out his name earlier actually when I was talking about the young players that we've got for the future, but he is definitely one of them. I have made his development so that he converts to a centre mid, because at the moment he's a cam. But obviously I see him more of a centre mid. I don't see him as his best position being attacking. I see him as being like a box to box Yaya Toure type player. So hopefully we can build on that one goal. If we get a second, I feel like that will wrap up this game. We haven't conceded many goals with this second team. Not that we've faced any major opponents, but the team has been playing well. We're trying to keep them in form. As we move on here, obviously 10 minutes left of the half. I'd love to get a second goal, but as long as we don't concede. I think the one thing that is lacking, obviously we do, Nelson is a very good attacking midfielder. He has shown that in a couple of games this season. But maybe we should look back to bring back Smith Rowe to play that position. Obviously Nelson is seen more as a wide player, although I have changed his development to convert him inside, but we'll just have to see how that pans out. See, one goal in it, one chance in this game, one goal. We've had all the possession. This is the sort of game which I'll be very expected if we don't win, very upset if we don't win. As I mean, if you dominate the ball and you're 1-0 up, they shouldn't have the chance to score. But obviously we all know how quickly a game can turn around. You see it against Nice, they turned the game around very quickly, although we was unfortunate to lose that. With Pepe missing a chance but the keeper saved, and obviously Willian hitting the post in like the final kick of the game. For sure Sheffield United would love to take this game to extra time, maybe penalties, but obviously we don't want that. If we can see the game out in 90 minutes, that's good enough for us. There hasn't been many chances in this game. It's basically just been a battle of possession, the midfield. But they have now got a chance in. That's a great bit of defending by Saliba. He's obviously trying very young. I could see him being in our first team for a very long time. Maybe it'll take him a year or two to get really up to the defending that we need. Obviously he's very young. That's a great save there. I think that's probably only the second shot of the game. And it is indeed. I'm hoping not to have to bring on any of our better players, or not better, but our more informed players. If this team can just see it out, then that's more than better for us. Obviously, this game is the game we wanted to win, but obviously the game in the Premier League is more important. Can we get a second goal here? We're passing it around in the box. You'd think that they would lunge in and get a tackle. As we see it here, we've got the ball in their half. Coming up to the last couple of minutes of the game, we should just see it out. We shouldn't try and lose the ball here. We should just see the game out so they can't counter us. And that should be it. That is a good win. Another good win for the reserve players. Man United did go through. Wolves and Newcastle also went through. So no major upsets yet. Spurs went through. Leicester beat Liverpool. That is a huge one, because Liverpool would have loved to win this competition, and obviously City, you expect it. Their team depth is so good that they can pretty much put out a starting 11 that will beat most Premier League teams in the cups. But as you can see there, after that game, that previous game, I think Spurs, they must have lost another game this season then. And they've now lost 2. I'd like to see who they lost to. They lost to Wolves as well, so that's 2 games that they've now lost in 3 games. That has really allowed all the teams behind them to just come back. They were running clear. They'd won 7 out of 7. It looked like they weren't going to lose a game. Obviously, Man United have Liverpool, so this is a great chance for us to put some distance between third and lower if we can win this Sheffield United game. Obviously, we'll just go in with the same starting lineup. I don't see there's any reason to change it. But this will be the last game of this episode. But as you can see, they pretty much do have the same lineup as the last game. If our second team can beat them away, you realistically think the first team should be able to beat them at home. I think I'd take a nice like 3-0 win if we can, if possible. Get Aubameyang scoring in multiple games. I'd like Pepe and Zaha just to do a little bit more. Obviously they're doing well for the squad as a whole, but in terms of their individual performances, you just don't see much from them. And maybe that is just confidence. Maybe they're just more happy playing for the team rather than anything else. So you got the Sheffield United in the bright green and us in the red. 10 minutes in from the kickoff, it don't look like they're going to be much of a threat. They are looking like they're just going to sit back, and if they can get that one chance from a corner or a free kick, I'm sure that's what they'll want, as they do now win the ball back and they do now try and attack us. A good bit of defending there by Alaba.
And Zaha has it. Really sitting deep now. That could be problematic. Joao Felix. On to Pepe.
Can we get a nice early goal? 20 minutes in, we've got a chance here on the edge of the box. I keep forgetting to put Zabelos in, but I tell you what, El Neni has been filling that void very well. We haven't conceded many goals since he has. That's a good chance there for Pepe, out for a corner now. And yeah, again, poor from the corners. I still don't think we have scored from a corner or a set piece this season. I mean, I will be expecting to win this game. Very comfortably. I can't imagine that they will threaten too much.
Still pushing for that goal that would see them forge ahead. Oh, tremendous block.
But you don't want to. This is not a game that you want to slip up in, considering that Man United and Liverpool are playing each other. Obviously, only being a point ahead of United and 2 points ahead of Liverpool. If neither of them, our best result there basically is a draw. We've got a chance here for Joao Felix, and he does score yet again. Joao Felix, player of the season, 100 million is looking like an absolute bargain, considering how young he is, how vital to us he's been this season. If you take away Joao Felix's goals this season, as you can see there, we've had all the possession. If you take away Joao Felix's goals this season, we have literally probably scored about 3 goals this season. And bearing in mind, Zaha scored twice after us being 2-0 up, so it's just to make it 3-0. They're not vital goals, whereas Joao Felix has scored in 1-0 wins. He's been so good for us that, I mean, Atletico must be looking at this and thinking, why did we let this young lad go? I mean, it would not surprise me if there was a couple of teams knocking on the door for him. Now we've got another chance. I mean, the more I talk about him, the more he just tries to prove my point that he is having one of his best seasons, like prolifically, since leaving Benfica. I know he did struggle a little bit at Atletico, but he was still very, very good. Pepe's now got a chance here, and yeah, again, Pepe just proved my point of what I was saying about Zaha and Pepe earlier. They're both really quick, and they're getting down the wing, and then they're cutting in and just losing the ball. Aubameyang was doing it for a couple of games. He was getting through and he was coming back. They're looking for the pass. They don't want to take it on their own. And Joao Felix is the only one who's really just grabbing the ball and just doing what he wants and just putting it in the back of the net. So maybe, obviously, we brought Joao Felix in for that exact reason. So, I mean, I can't criticise him in any way, but I've more got to criticise the actual front three themselves. Obviously, the front four as a whole is very good, but the front 3 main attackers are just not performing the way that we'd want them to, and I think that might even be Sheffield United's first attempt of the game. Their second, but good little save there by Leno. I'd like us to get one more if we can. The Aubameyang Partey, can he finish that? And he can. Great goal by Thomas Partey. I've had no complaints about him. He's been absolutely brilliant for us. As you see there, João Felix on a 10. He'll be getting man of the match. Could even put him on 10 goals for the season already. I'm not quite sure how many he was on coming into this. But he would either be on 9 or 10 now. So as we move on here, I said I wanted a 3-0 win. It looks like that's what we're getting. And there we have it. A lovely 3-0 win. 43rd, 57th, 84th. Just see the game out. No doubts. I do want to simulate a little bit further. Maybe we'll simulate up to the next game so that the Man United game does go through, as I really want to know how we're doing. I really hope that they drew. I feel like that could be such a turning point for the season. Obviously this game against Nice in the next episode is going to be vital for us. If we don't win this, it allows Braga back in. But let's just go have a look at how the league is now faring up. Hopefully maybe Spurs dropped more points. But I'd expect us to obviously still be second. And we are indeed second. And Spurs they drew. And it looks like Liverpool beat Manchester United as well in that game for Liverpool. So Spurs drew with Brighton. And the last game, it must be one of the last games down here. We beat Sheffield United. And Liverpool beat Manchester United 1-0 at Old Trafford. So kind of like when we played them, United got that late equaliser. Obviously they didn't. Obviously they're still very, like they're there. They're 5 points behind Tottenham. But if you just look at how close that top 8 is, you've got 8 from Chelsea on 20, all the way up to Spurs on 25. There's literally 8 teams that could go on a run and win this Premier League. Newcastle having a very good season. As you see, their Leeds still struggling, still not won a game in their first 11. Fulham won 1 but drawn 1. Like, the bottom teams are struggling. Obviously, we just beat West Brom. I'd like to see where Sheffield United were 12th. That's kind of what you would expect from them. But I think that's been a very good episode for us. I think we've won 4 out of 4 this episode, unlike last episode. But obviously, last episode was a lot harder games. And now I think we're looking forward to, hopefully we can get one back over on Nice and make it a very nice win as we're coming to a close of 2020. Obviously it's now 2021 in real life. If we can push on with the second team, I don't want them to be slacking now. Obviously there's still a couple of -2s and -1s. Obviously the attack, they're still getting the goals, they're happy. But if you just look at the other players, they're not quite happy enough. So hopefully we can build on that in the next few games. But as for all that now, I think we'll leave it there and I'll catch you guys soon.